all these consents that I've noticed Zoom is doing now.
Yeah.
It's just like we lost Eric for a minute.
Yeah, we lost Eric, but gained Latanya.
We gained Latanya.
Hi, I'm trying to stuff my face. So
You're fine. You're fine.
I do have a meeting that I have to just start at 1, just so you know. So
okay, I think this will be pretty light, actually.
Yeah. I was going to say it doesn't look like we have a whole lot today, so I was hoping we could get through.
All right, I think we are. Okay. Oh, and we lost Deb. Deb was on and then. Michelle, you saw that invite too for the adolescent domestic battery.
Yes.
Okay.
I may have a conflict. I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah, no worries. I just
I was upset by it because I want to go to that. So I'm trying to figure out what I can do.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to navigate schedules and it's like, oh, we're just gonna have to set it.
If something else came up after and I was like,
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be the first of many, so hopefully.
Okay. Yeah,
I
know I'll be able to attend one at some point.
Okay.
Should I start or I know we don't have any voting things, but
I think we have to have a quorum even to start the meeting. So we just need Eric back. We would have 6.
Judge and Deb, we're just waiting for a quorum. We had Eric, but we lost him. If we can get him back, we have a quorum.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, now you can hear me, right? Okay, I was muted. I was like, what is going on here? I got this big box in the middle of my thing about live streaming and I can't get it off.
Just
okay.
Yeah, just a disclaimer that we're live streaming. I think you just have to say okay.
Either got it or leave meeting. So I said got it, and then I'll say okay, good. That's what it would me. Oh gosh.
And we got Eric connecting, so
that might have been that came up right when he was logged on too. So I wonder if it came up for him too. Yeah, so once he's connected, then we're good to go with a quorum.
oh, we got Kristen too.
We have Kristen, so we're good.
They're both connecting.
And I think Mike is joining us. All right, you're good whenever you want to start.
Okay,
Michelle.
I'm going to go ahead and start. Oh, Eric is connected now.
Yeah.
All right. So good afternoon, everybody. So first thing is approval of our minutes. I know Julia sent out the minutes. I'll just give everyone a minute or two. And then if we can get those approved.
What are you supposed to do?
Okay. Did anyone have any comments or changes with the minutes? Okay, then we will approve those as submitted. And we'll move on to the chairman's report. The finance officer was out this week at the state's attorney's office, so we don't have an update on finances this month, but we will have that next month. Additionally, we talked about before that our grant and contract does need to be approved by the county board. That was not on the agenda today at Judicial and Public Safety, so we are hoping that that will be on next month and that will be taken care of at that time. Then we are still working on our county board representative. I am talking to Lark about, she had a couple of ideas because no one has responded to my letters as of yet, but she had a couple of ideas. So hopefully we can get one of her people that she would suggest. And that is all of the chairman's report. We can move on to old business. And I think the first one is that Mila met with law enforcement, and I think Eric is going to update us on that.
Yeah, we met a few weeks ago at North Aurora Police Department, and thanks to Kristen and Mila for wanting to meet. It was myself and Kristen, I think the West Aurora liaison officer, and Kevin Triplett, I believe too. I don't know if he's part of security at West Aurora. I think he used to be an Aurora officer. And then Mila's parents. And I thought it went very well, very productive. I think we kind of agreed that, you know, there's two different positions. And I think we kind of wanted to have a mutual understanding, even though we might not agree on every single topic. I thought that went well. Everyone was, you know, kind of free to speak and say their piece and try to understand each other. And I think the goal moving forward with Mila and her group is kind of some education on, you know, I guess police and how we do our job and the thought process there, but then at the same time kind of understanding where they're coming from. But overall, I thought it was very fruitful. Really good exchange of ideas and thoughts. And I think we kind of agreed that we weren't going to solve the world's problems in the hour that we met, and that we might not agree with each other all the time. And I think that's important to understand as well, but that we can try to understand each other as a main goal. And then maybe we can meet in the middle. I just think maybe overall people are too far in their corners to believe what they want to believe, and they don't meet in the middle. And I felt this was a really good opportunity for us to meet in the middle and ask questions too. I think that's important too. You know, and Mila read her letter because Kevin hadn't heard it in the liaison officer, so that was reread. You know, but and to also understand that, you know, if you know that we have to ask questions to understand each other, and it's not saying that someone's wrong or that they agree or disagree. And even if they do agree, maybe there's we need to understand each other better. It's really not about saying someone's wrong or disagreeing. It's just I'm asking a question because I want to know more about what you said. So I think we kind of agreed on that too. So and then also, so I don't know. I think Mila is going to check with the school group this year to see who signed up. I don't know if like seniors graduated or how many people are in their organization now. And then kind of moving forward, maybe we would meet as a group. Maybe intermittently or quarterly, and you know, talk about what the kids questions that they have, and then maybe the kids can tell us, well, here's what we think, you know, and we can kind of go back and forth. So I don't think it should be us telling, hey, we're the police and this is what we do. I think the kids can kind of help us too. Like, what do you guys want us to know? Like, what is something that you think we should know and understand better? And they can kind of teach us some things too. So I kind of made a joke that if they can get us to understand Snapchat, that would be awesome because we can't figure it out. But just, again, I think overall, there were a couple times where we kind of had a enlighten, like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that, or I didn't understand it that way, even in the short time that we met. So I'm looking forward to meeting again, and I think this is a good way to help both groups understand each other. So I think it went very well. So another thing, as far as Kristen and Mila, I applaud both of them for organizing the meeting and reaching out. It's one thing to, say this or that, but then to actually do it. Like, let's meet, let's talk, let's do something further instead of just, just saying things. There's some action here. So, and I think that's good too. So, but overall went well. And I don't know if Kristen has anything to add as far as how it went.
No, I think you covered everything, Eric. It did. It went really well. And I think this is going to be an amazing opportunity for law enforcement, to start to bridge that gap with young people in our community. So I'm excited about it. We'll keep you guys posted on the future meetings.
Yeah, excellent. It sounds really good. Does anybody have any comments or questions for Eric or Kristen? Well, it's great that you were able to have that meeting, and we look forward to hearing what happens with this in the future. Okay, so we can move on to restorative practices. Julia, did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we had, as everyone knows, we had our training of trainers in the summer in June. So Pam Ely from the detention center was one of those individuals who was trained. So she is now a licensed facilitator. And then we also had Rose Diaz from the YWCA, who is also a licensed facilitator. She has done some volunteer experience with IDJJ at St. Charles, actually. And so her and Pam were able to connect during the training. And so they've been sort of starting some discussions around implementing training in the detention center. And this is actually, Pam had talked about this a while ago before she even became a licensed facilitator. So I think there have been barriers that were there initially, and they continue to sort of be there, including like staffing. How do we make sure, how do we get staff available to go through the 2-day training? How do we make this available to them? It's nice now that with COVID hitting that we have a little bit more flexibility in the training. So it's not as rigid as it was initially when we were initially having these conversations. So now we can break up the training a little bit more to offer to staff. But then there's, of course, other logistics that have to be sorted out in terms of how do you do this within a secure facility and have some of these conversations. So those discussions have been started. I've reached out to the International Institute of Restorative Practices for some just guidance overall, like, have they seen this in a detention center and what does it look like if it's been implemented? So hopefully we'll be able to get that sorted out. But it's exciting that we're starting to see this extension happen in our community. The other thing I wanted to share, and this is very early stages, but there was mention, I met with some of our partners from the health department about some of the system of care work that's going on. And they had mentioned, so they have a parent, I'm trying to remember, they just had a meeting last night too, I should remember, but it's a council of parents essentially who are trying to come together and assist with, mental health issues in the community. And so they had said that these parents have gone through this training, this leadership training as parents, and they had said that they were interested in restorative practices training as well. So there may be some opportunity for us to connect with parents in our community who want to also see this going through. I think some of it starts with, like, they want to better understand what's being offered in the school systems with restorative practices, but part of that may entail them also being trained in restorative practices as well.
Any questions on that? Okay, so we can move on to law enforcement training. We talked a lot about this last month, but we do need to try to pick a date. And Julia has some information. She spoke to them about the arrest data collection. And I'll let her talk about what they told her on regards to that. And then we need to figure out if we can pick a date.
Yeah, so, and I know with our last meeting, we had talked about connecting with Kristen and Eric. So this was all handled, we were talking outside of this meeting. So I've shared this with them, but for the rest of the board, as far as arrest data goes, I asked them, if we're not able to get it, is that going to be a problem? And they sort of said, no, it's not. I mean, it's not ideal, but we're not the only jurisdiction that has challenges with getting arrest data. They also said that we could use data from 2019 as opposed to 2020, just acknowledging the circumstances of 2020. And they said that they would need the data within a couple of weeks prior to the training just to review it and then be able to make it relevant in the training itself. So I know we have talked and we have included it in our grant application and our plans to try to begin this process of collecting arrest data at a local level. So I guess sort of my question that I posed to Eric and Kristen and now into the entire board is really, is this an opportunity to sort of use that as a platform to begin collecting some of that arrest data if we're going to look at 2019? They didn't give me a specific format that they're looking for. So I can confirm if they're looking for a specific format or if we can just use the format that we needed in for our grant application.
And so Julie and I were talking to, and I would look for Kristen and Eric's input on this. Do we use this as the data as sort of a carrot to, if you want to attend the training, you need to bring your data, or is that going to completely prevent people from coming? I
was going to say that exactly is that if we put the training out and then say, as part of the course material or needed material for class to make the data available. And I do have, Julia, a couple dates picked out for here at St. Charles. So it's the end of the year. I know we have to do it before the end of the year. In the fall, we have our training room is booked. So I have both Monday, Tuesdays of winter break. So December 20th and December 21st, which is a Monday, Tuesday. And then December 27th and December 28th, which is also a Monday, Tuesday. I don't know if we can ever find a perfect day where the stars align, where there's no school and all the juvenile officers are available, and you know what I mean? I just think we just kind of have to pick a day and go with it. I think having these days further along gives us a little more time for people to sign up and get the data we're looking for. So I have all 4 of those days. I know we can do whichever week you guys want, but those are penciled in. I do have those reserved in our community room here that will very comfortably fit 30 people, even if we have COVID restrictions of social distancing. It's a pretty big training room, so that should suffice. So I guess we just have to pick a day, and then I can, put that in stone. So I don't know if those dates work, if that's too far off, and I think maybe, that gives us enough time to kind of advertise, see who wants to do it, you know what I mean, and then get their data at the same time. So I know that's kind of a crunch time at the end of the year. And then I also understand too that, hopefully people will want to attend the training, but I mean, we can only control, that time frame. But I feel like, again, when you have free training, that's, most people will take advantage of that if they can. And I feel like we're centrally located too. So, and it is during break. So hopefully some SROs can make it. So I don't know if those dates work for you guys or what your thoughts are as far as that time frame.
Anybody have any comments or questions about that? I kind of feel like maybe the 20th and the 21st would work better, being that Christmas is on the weekend. People may be gone that weekend, and maybe there would be less attendance the 27th and the 28th. Okay,
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I kind of penciled in both those weeks. I do agree with you. I think that is probably the better time frame. People might want to make that a long weekend afterwards, so we can do the 20th and 21st.
Okay.
Do you think the free training is, I know you were kind of saying, like, is that going to be enough of an incentive to them to want to attend and to provide the data? as a contingency to attending sort of thing? Or is there something that would benefit officers that we should be considering with this training?
I think it's, I mean, I think it's possible. Like I said, I think certainly, I mean, like I said, I have 4 liaison officers and it's right here at the PD and it's free, you know, it's definitely an incentive to go. And typically during that time frame of the year, as far as school and the liaison officers or juvenile officers, kind of slow time anyway, so it's a winter. So I feel like it's a big incentive. And then, like I said, if we have enough lead time, you know, those that are interested, you know, those planning to attend, please provide your arrest data. You know what I mean? I don't think that would be, you know, that way, all right, I am attending and, you know, I have some time to collect whatever data we need as far as, you know, I don't know. I think the question, what's the format? Like, how many arrests? Are we doing referrals? How many, do they want to know how many station adjustments we did, or just kind of raw data of arrests? Or do they want kind of more broken down, you know, what charges or what? I guess it's going to depend on how easy it is to get, depending on how broad or how specific they want the data to be.
Mm-hmm.
So Julia, so our next step, should we, I mean, if we can get something out to get it announced by the end of this month, we're 4 months out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe our next step is to find out for sure what they want in the data, and then we can move forward with getting it advertised.
Yeah.
All right.
And confirming that they're available, but they didn't give me that as a limitation, so.
Okay. All right. Anything else on the law enforcement training?
So can I add, and this might be cart before the horse, but in terms of if we're asking for that data, is it beneficial then to departments if we sort of make meaning of that data, connect it to what we're seeing in the court system, and then bring it back? Like, would that be an incentive, an additional incentive to police departments to have that conversation on the back end if they're giving us the arrest data? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if that's really going to matter. I just think it's a, you know, whether we're collecting the data or whatever. I just think as a prerequisite for the class, you know, there's other classes we go to where, oh, bring your policy on this or bring your policy on that so we can discuss it. So I really don't think, you know, we really have to twist any arms as far as getting that. I would just say, yeah, we need it. And then maybe if someone says, oh, well, I can't get it or whatever, and then we just say, all right, it's fine. You know what I mean? On an individual basis, I don't want to put out like, oh, you don't have to bring it if you don't, then no one would bring it, right? You know what I mean? So I don't think we really have to twist any arms with that. So just to say, you know, again, whatever specific data, if they can get it, you know, to bring it so we can discuss it, I guess. I don't think we really need to twist any arms to get what we're looking for as far as that for the class.
LaTanya, did you want, I'm sorry, you unmuted. I didn't know if you had something to say on it too.
No, originally I was just kind of thinking what Julia was saying, and I didn't know if she was going the route to say, just because sometimes data around this topic is not off-putting, but uncomfortable. So I didn't know if you were going kind of saying, okay, well, we've already identified that it's apparent in this system. We're not accusing you. We're just trying to look at the system from a whole. And I didn't know if that's where Julia was going. Because I think that goes a long way to say we already know that there's an issue. We're expecting your data to say a certain thing so that no one is uncomfortable when their data actually says that, making them not want to bring it. So that's just kind of one of the thoughts I have.
Yeah, and I would echo that too. I mean, we have that 2018 data. We have some of the 2019 data. Look like in some of the, although all I saw was detentions in the 2019 data. So I guess the overall county data is there. I know each individual town might, you know, be right along those lines or different or however that's interpreted. But I guess overall, as a fallback, we do have the county data. But I agree with what you're saying, LaTanya. the data is the data. It is what it is. So I don't think there's any, I don't know if anybody be worried about it, to be honest with you.
All right, anything else on that then? Okay, so we are moving on. Resource folders. Julia did send out on Tuesday the updated drafts to the work groups. So they will all be reviewing that, and then hopefully we'll have more information on that next month. And then the expungement packets, the new forms go into effect September 1st. So those will be good to go, hopefully before September 1st. Okay, any questions about those two? All right, and then racial and ethnic disparities, the next meeting is September 19th at 9 o'clock. And then the ADB work group is going to meet on Monday, right, Julia?
Tuesday, the 24th. Is it
Yes,
the 24th?
Yes, it is the 24th. I'm way off. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
August 24th. And then Julie was just asking if anybody else wants to attend the meeting in September.
Join those discussions around
or join
racial.
those, then let her know and she can get you added to that. Right. And then Julia sent out information this week as to the RED conference. Hopefully everybody had a chance to take a look at that. And then we just kind of wanted to have a discussion if anyone was interested in attending or have interest in sending a representative from your agency or group.
So the state definitely would like to attend virtually, right? Yeah. So, I mean, if it is virtually and they're charging per person, correct? So, I mean, is it something that all three of the ASAs could attend, or do we want just one? If it's going to be virtual, we could do it in that office, or we definitely want to have somebody. That's the bottom line here. The question becomes, is it 1, 2, or 3 of us? I don't know how that works.
So Julia, I don't know what is our budget for.
So we budgeted for 10 to attend because I didn't know how many would be available, but we can certainly extend that because our budget for training, we overestimated thinking that we may, because we were still a question mark around that law enforcement training and the direction that we were going to go. So there's an extra $9,000 that was earmarked for the strategies for youth training that we're just doing the I guess the basic format, the single training as opposed to training of trainers. So there's extra money that we can use if we have more. So I guess that it's just sort of a general question, who all would be interested and how many do we actually have?
So definitely the state. So whatever we can do on that.
I'd be interested too.
What's the dates again for that?
November 1st through the 3rd.
So Julie, do you do you want to set a deadline for, if people want to take another closer look at it and let you know for sure?
Yeah, I think maybe by the next meeting, we probably want to have solidified how many we need to go for. I think the rates are kind of set. We missed the early bird because that was July 31st, but there's still like another early bird timeframe that we can be within here to get people registered. I think the hard part too is you don't know what the breakout sessions are going to be. So as we get closer, you'll know if some of those breakouts are going to be of interest too.
Okay. All right. So why don't we just, everybody can consider that further. We know state is going, I would like to send our 2 attorneys too. And then everybody else can decide if they want to be included or think or maybe we're missing someone that you think should be included and can let Julia know about that. And then by next month, we'll have that finalized as to who we'll be sending. That sound okay?
And I think the question too is how to your point, Rochelle, who do we want to open this up to? Do we just want to keep it to the board of directors? Do we need to open it up to the entire council and see if there's additional interest there too?
So I don't know if anybody has thoughts on that right now, but we could let everybody think about that as well, and have, if you think of someone, you can let Julia know, or we can discuss it again next month after everyone's had a chance to think about it some more. Okay. All right. That sounds good. Anything else on that? All right, then we are moving on to new business. So Julia has sent out our meeting dates for fiscal year 2022. So if you didn't get those, please let her know. And then Julia, did you want to talk about?
Briefly, yeah, I won't go into it too in depth because I sent the contract out to everyone. I know it's a lot to go through, but really what I wanted to point the attention to, there's some specifics that are in the back pages, the later half, and I believe they're in the appendices, or the exhibits, I'm sorry, not appendices. But there's something that talks about, it's still the standard information. I will say last year we had a specific requirement because of how we scored on one of the questionnaires that we have to submit as part of the grant application, because we had like a newer fiscal person, we had a staff turnover there. They had put us on this where we needed to comply with certain requirements within our contract. And so that was just the site visits and our monthly meetings, which we did. So there are no specific or no special requirements that we're under per our contract. But there is the piece about, there was one about the youth. So the way that and I'm trying to scroll through, I apologize. The way that they phrase it, I know we had these discussions about how to connect with youth, or how to have youth engaged. And the way that they're phrasing it is that we have youth involved that have been impacted by the juvenile justice system. I don't know if that wording changes or if that connotation with impacted versus involved in the juvenile justice system changes anything, but I wanted to point that out. Of course, we're subject to site visits. We'll have to do site visits with them probably once. There's the collaboration with the family and community resource centers. And so, previously I had attended some of those meetings, but it says providers will maintain a collaborative working relationship with the local IDHS FCRCs. So this includes outreach to the FCRCs to develop awareness of this program, recruit potential participants, and participate in local service provider meetings as requested. Or haven't been requested. I just sort of showed up to them. So I don't know if some of this is more so intended for, councils or grant recipients who are providing direct services that may interact with individuals that are connected to the family and community resource centers. It does talk about the collaboration. We're expected to collaborate with the Illinois Juvenile Justice Commission and any other relevant juvenile justice agencies, including IDJJ, AOIC, and of course our local JJ system partners, which we're doing. There is a note in here about expungement materials, which I thought was interesting. This is new this year. And it says the provider agrees to distribute materials regarding expungements of juvenile records to program participants, and the materials will be provided by the commission. So in light of our discussions with our expungement packet, I don't know what that means, but again, that could be just for councils that are direct service providers. And then the other thing that I wanted to point our attention to, so over the course of the grant, we also have to agree to participate in our training and technical assistance, which we do with ICOI, but ICOI is going to be doing some trainings on racial bias and performance measures and goal setting. So I can send out the training calendar from ICOI that shows when some of those are going to be. And if I get some specific trainings, I'll send those out as well. And I will participate as my availability allows, but just wanted everyone to know that we have that agreement as part of our agreement.
Any questions on any of that? Okay. Then the last thing is Julia is working on our annual reports. She's for 2020 and is starting 2021. So if anybody has any input on those and wants to talk to Julia about it, please let her know. All right. And are there any other updates that we should know about? Okay, then it is 12:34, so I would ask if we could get a motion to adjourn in a second.
Just real quick, when is there's another red meeting in September? What is the date for that?
September 19th.
I think it's the 17th, isn't it? Isn't the 19th of Sunday?
You might be right. Sorry.
September 17th.
You're correct. It is the 17th. Sorry about
at
that.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, we're not meeting on Sunday. Sorry.
It's virtual as well.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, so do we have a motion to adjourn in a second?
A motion.
And
A second.
All right, and Kristen seconded. So we are adjourned. Thanks for coming, everyone. We'll see you next month.
Yeah.
Thank you.